Hi everyone. Well, here we are. We're in the new year and it's time for me to start getting some projects done. All right, couple things I got going and I'm going to bring you along on my journey. And this is probably going to be part one of this little thing I got going on. But I wanted to show you a little bit about what I'm doing. So I am working on a kit that I bought in December. And this is from Carolyn's Musings. This is Vintage Gingerbread Christmas, if you're looking for it. And I printed everything off, but then time got away from me, so I never did get started. So I have my 3 signatures ready to go. She has so many papers in this kit that, yeah, I could get 3 signatures without repeating any of them, except for some of the insides. But, yeah, nice, beautiful kit. And these are some of the fussy cuts and tags and everything that came along with the kit. There's just oodles, and this can be used for other things too, but yeah, just super cute stuff. So I have that, and my signatures are almost ready. And then I'm going to use this as part of the cover. So I think I'm going to put this on the front and this on the back, because I'll actually cut them down and you'll see as we go along. And then this was in her shop as well. I didn't write down the name of the kit, but probably it's gingerbread lace or something, I don't know. Anyway, I thought these were great elements to go along with the kit, the other kit, and then the gingerbread man. And then these can be used, I kind of got these because I was thinking of something else, fussy cutting these out and then using them on cards and stuff. I think they're so they're super cute. So I'm going to use them. And the way I'm going to get started with this is I have all of these, I don't know, envelopes. I think they're for, you know, like legal documents and stuff. But I got a bunch of these, and they're sturdy. They're nice and sturdy, and they almost have like that plastic, I can feel a little bit of durable like plastic on there. So I know they're going to be a durable cover. By the time I get papers and stuff on them, they're going to be great. So normally for a 2 signature, I cut them down to this size, which is, let's see, all together, it is 12.5 by about 8.5, and with a 1-inch spine. Okay, and it works really well for a 2 signature book, but I'm going to be doing a 3 signature book. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take this and I will cut it down to, and remember now, don't go by these measurements because I have to add a 1/2 inch because I want my spine to be 1.5 inches. So basically, I'll just get another score in there, and then I'll get my 1.5 inch spine. So it would come out to what, 12, 13 this way. Always 8 this way is fine. So I'm going to use that. And then this is wallpaper I had gotten from a company that friends I know, and they own a furniture store. Anyway, they were, these are discontinued. So she had some of the discontinued, you know, little swatch things. So that's going to be for the cover. I have quite a few of these left, and they come in handy. I always think, man, I should just get rid of them, but gosh, I do end up finding I use them. So that's one little project I have going on. Now I started, I grabbed this kit as well from Journals Reimagined. She has a Ko-fi shop, and if you are a subscriber to her shop, this kit was Beautiful Autumn Breeze. It is in her Ko-fi, Ko/fi. All you have to do is just sign up. It doesn't cost you anything to be on Ko-fi, but this is her subscription club, so that does cost monthly, but it's a very minimal amount, and she gives lots of beautiful, gorgeous stuff. So I'm going to be making a tall, skinny book. So you see how they're all This way, I'm going to be doing a tall skinny out of that one. So I'm going to use the same method for that. And then here are the cut aparts. So I've got that going on. And then she also, Rachel from Journals Reimagined, on her Ko-fi shop, this was a subscriber. If you're a subscriber to her shop, she, like I said, she gives lots of freebies. These were normally the full page, but I shrunk them down because I want to make some little mini books. And this is just like little stuff I can do when I can't really work on the big stuff because I don't have time. But yeah, more fussy cuts. And but yeah, you can find her on YouTube, and she does have a Facebook page, but go find her on YouTube at Journals Reimagined, and then she'll give you all the details for where you can find her. Aren't they gorgeous? Anyway, so lots of things I need to get going. I have lots of kits I want to start making journals and kind of get a jump start on that. So my first one is I'm going to be assembling this, and I'm going to go ahead and get this cut down to the size that I need it, and then come back and we'll get started. Okay, I've cut down my book, or my book cover. I have my 1.5 inch spine, so that's ready to go. I've also cut down my wallpaper, so that's ready to go. And I've made a little outline because when I put my glue here, I want to make sure I'm within this border. Okay, so we're going to get to that in just a second. Another thing I'm going to need to prep, and this is just how I do it. A lot of people don't like to use a blade. I totally get it. You can cut all these edges off by hand, but I just don't have time for that. So I am basically just tapping that in there. I'm going to lay this to the edge of where that starts. I'm going to grab my finger blade or an X-Acto knife, whatever works for you. And the trick to this, I believe, is having a sharp blade. So slow and steady wins the race. And I just keep going down that line, keeping my blade next to my ruler. And eventually I will get through to the end. I can feel it. And there we have it. Now, inside, I just kind of check it. You might have a little bit of white here and there, but it's not a big deal, and I can always cover that up with ink. Now, when I'm doing the edges, the top and the bottom, I bring this toward me, toward the seam of the book, because if I do it this way, my paper could slide as I'm pulling it toward me. So I always make sure I'm pulling it toward the seam of the book. And again, just keep starting at the top and running it down. And get a nice clean edge. So I have 3 of those to do. I'm going to finish this one up, and then we're going to get to gluing that cover. I'll finish these off camera. I'll get this side on. To glue my cover, I am going to start with my outside spine. There's going to be something different happening in the middle here. We'll get to that, but I'm going to start with my outside. For this one, I am an art glitter glue girl, But for this one, I do like to use the Fabri-Tac. I just think you get a little bit more wiggle room, and it's more flexible. I think it's more flexible to the surfaces that you're connecting, which I feel like makes the book move easier. Okay. And I only do start with the spine, and of course I give it a really, really nice coat. I want a lot on there. I'm not going to go sparingly. And that's my old bottle. It's getting a little... And then the reason I draw the lines is so that I can set it right where I want it. Okay? And the reason I do this first is I want more, I don't want to have to lay it all down and work each side, because as you get to this, you're going to start to move this paper in to give it that flexible open and close. So this is why I like to get my spine down first. Just get it right down where I want it. Then I can come in and just start putting glue on one side. Now, I'm sure some do this all together, or there might be different methods. This is just what I found works for me. When I started making journals, you know, I followed a lot of people and kind of got their feedback, and then you just kind of find out, yeah, this one works, that works, this doesn't work, but, you know, just what kind of really works for you. All right, so I got quite a bit on there. Put my lid back on my glue. Okay, now I'm going to lay this back out. But at this point, I'm going to start working this seam back up because I want flexibility. I want this book to open and close well. Okay, and this is why I do it this way. I feel like I have much more control over the situation. And you will see you're going to get just a little bit of gapping there. That doesn't bother me because I usually cover my spines anyway. Okay, I'm going to go ahead and finish that off, and then I will come back for what we're going to do. Okay, my signatures are cut. The edges are all cut down. I'm going to go through and ink all of my edges, and I think what I want to do with this book, I've never done this, I think I want to sew all around the pages. I'm not sure if I'll sew this or if I'll just sew this, but I think I want to do some sewing. I think that would just give it some character. Now, as you see, my book is covered, or my book cover is covered. And what I did was I went around and I started working the edges and working them in towards, you know, the cardboard, I guess you'd say. And I started working them in. Now, when you work these in, you want to release some of that resistance. If you don't, it's going to be so bulky here and at the top. It's just going to be harder to work with. So all I did was cut straight down. See if I can see it. Might be better on this side. No. Okay, so I just cut straight down that seam. And then from this side, it looks like I left the bulk on that side. I literally take a tiny little sliver, and you can do it on both sides, but I literally take a tiny little sliver. So when you're closing your book at the seam, it's not going to give you resistance. Now don't worry, because all this is going to be covered anyway. This will be covered. You won't see any of this because there's another piece that goes in here. But did that, and then I can't see it. Can't see my seam. Can't get in the right lighting. Well, we'll just go for it. Okay. I might take a little bit more off of that, but for now, when we're going to be folding our edges in, we are going to want to miter these corners. And basically, you're not going to go right up to that point, but very, very close to that point. So when you get ready to glue this, then there's a little point here you can kind of tuck in a little bit, and then you'll have a seamless corner. I might have taken that one a little bit too far, but there's other paper that's going on top of this as well. So I'll fix that. It might be easier just to go in and then in, because you do want to have coverage on your, yeah, so, but you get the idea. Yeah. And then there'll be stuff that covers, like I said, I'll cover this up anyway. So, so there. So I'm going to finish that. I'll come back and show you what I'm going to put on the inside and show you how to do the spine. Okay, so I still have some time. I was checking. I don't like to make my videos too long because sometimes people just don't have that kind of time. So, but what I'm going to do, I went back through my wallpaper stash, because my first thought was I was going to put this in here, but it does not cover as much as I want it to cover around the edges. I want it to be a little bit more. So I got back into my wallpaper stash, and I found the kind of the matching only in the lighter color. So that's going to work good. But I did cut out these two pieces that are going to match or get a little bit closer to the edges that I want them to. So the reason I did this is I want this to be a little bit thicker. This is just a little bit too thin for me. And I'm going to cover these with this, and then I'm going to sew around them, and then I will glue them in once I'm done, and then we work on the spine, because that's going to cover anything that's you know, over this in this area. So, but one thing I did before, I thought about folding it around kind of like I did the book, but what I decided was I'm just going to cut them out the way they are, and then but I needed to ink the edges, and I'll ink them again once this is on, but I need to ink these edges so that you don't see any white. It just makes it look a little bit better. So I'm going to ink the edges. I'm going to glue them each to this, cut them out, and then that will go in my book as well. Okay, so I did sew around the two panels that are going to go on either side. I decided not to sew around the book, just because I'm not a great sewer, and I didn't want to mess up the outside of the book, but I still think I'm going to attempt all of the pages. Anyhow, now what I'm going to do is I had an extra strip. Normally I put cloth in here, but I decided that I would put this because I had a little bit extra, and then these would go on either side, and then of course my signatures would be sewn in there. But I wanted to make this spine a little bit sturdier. So what I've done, is I have my template. So what I'm talking about is this is the template for sewing in signatures. This is going to be my master one. I always make an extra if I make any type of templates for spines. I make extra so I don't have to think about it. I don't have to measure it out again. I think these are a little bit wonky, but that one is, but I don't think it's too off. Anyway, so this is what I'm talking about. I can make a couple extra, and then I usually mark some details on the back of like what this, you know, the measurements. So I'm going to glue this in here. That's my next step. And I'm again going to use my Fabri-Tac because I just think it will give me a little bit of wiggle room to make sure I can still, you know, get those sides up. Again, we don't want to impede. Now, this was 1.5 inches in the middle, and in the middle, in this, I made it 1 inch and 3/8 because I do not want it 1.5 inches because it will go into the seams and then you're going to get resistance. So just keep that in mind. Maybe do an eighth smaller. When I first started crafting and using eighths, and I'm starting to get a handle on 16ths, but yeah, nobody likes eighths. But now I have a pretty good handle on it, so they don't intimidate me quite as much as they used to. So I'm gonna go ahead and lay this in here. I'm gonna put them side. See how we want to make sure I can move that over just a little bit. Looks like it can be on this side just a little bit more if you're looking down at it. Get it straightened up a little bit. So that's going to be good. Now, the holes that I punched in it, normally, you know, you would kind of do when you get everything together, but I sort of call this my reverse punch, so that when I go to lay, or actually I'm going to lay this on, and then first I'm going to punch it from the front. So I'm going to take my awl, or my pokey tool, and I am going to, because if I put this layer on, I can't see where those holes are at. So I'm just going to gently, I just want to get through to the other side. And I don't want to make a big hole. I just want to know where I'm going from there. And then same thing. So I'm going to get all of these done. Okay, all my holes are on this side, which is good. So when I put this piece on, which I'm going to do right now, I can go back through this side and punch the other way, and then I'll see where all my holes are to put my signatures in. So I'm going to go ahead and glue this on. And again, I'm going to grab my other one. I only had to break down and get a new one. All right, so I'm going to cover this. Oh, I forgot to ink my edges. So one important thing, you want to ink these up first. So I'm glad I didn't use the glitter glue, because I would have had to reapply, because you're going to see them at the top, and I don't want to see the white. I want it all to blend. Okay. Now I'm going to lay that down and try to get it as center as possible. I put quite a bit of glue on there, so I don't think I'm going to squeeze it because I don't want it coming out the edges. Okay. But this again is when you're going to want to start working that edge, and you're going to want to work that in. And I just do it slowly, you know, as the glue is drying, because you're not going to see any of that anyway. It doesn't, you know, affect it, but I still want the book to, again, move freely, the spine. And I'm going to just push that in there. Okay, I'm going to crease that, and then I'm really going to work that in there, let that get glued, but this has given me a stiffer cover or spine, so it just gives it some more stability. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to let that dry and really start to work that glue in. I don't want to get too over anxious. Then I'll come back, turn this over, punch my holes back in so that I know where to lay my signatures. And then I am going to add my edges or my panels. And yeah, and then my cover will be done. How exciting. So I'll be back one more time and we'll make this part 1. All right, so there we go. My cover is ready to go, and I'm going to work on another cover for the other journal I talked about. And then, yeah, on my off time, I'll get these inked up and sewn, and then I'll come back and we'll put the signatures in and start to decorate. So, yeah. Thanks, everyone. Have a great day.